And we are now getting an exclusive piece of information, and this is as per intel sources fact-checking West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee's claims and assertions. Intel sources are telling CNN News 18 that there is a significant underrepresentation and systemic challenges that were faced by Hindu candidates in Bangladesh's recent parliamentary elections. According to this report, violence and intimidation against Hindu and minority communities continued for over a year, effectively pushing many out of the political process altogether. Of the 2,034 candidates contesting 299 parliamentary seats in Bangladesh, only 80 were from the Hindu minority backgrounds, representing roughly just about 3.9% of the total, despite Hindus making up to about 8% of the Bangladesh population. My colleague Pallavi Ghosh is now with us on the broadcast. Pallavi, you have extensively covered the elections in Bangladesh, and this data that we are in fact putting out for our viewers pretty much is going ahead, not just countering the claims, the assertions that have been made by Mamata Banerjee, but also putting out a very, very worrying fact. Despite 8% of a Hindu or minority population in Bangladesh, the representation as far as the electoral process goes was really meager.
Absolutely, and that is, calls a lie of all of those who have called the Bangladesh elections to be completely free and fair. Look, the idea of democracy or any election is that it should be inclusive. Everyone should be allowed to take part and people should do it fearlessly. In the case of Bangladesh, I saw it for myself that in many pockets of those areas, the Hindus were very reluctant to go and cast their vote. But they were told that if you don't go and you stay indoors, then you will be marked. People will notice the fact and they will read it as having boycotted the election. So they went to the polling stations. Many of them pretended that they were casting their votes and then they walked away. Now, Manoj Gupta has broken down those figures which are available exclusively for us, and that is of the 8% of the total Hindu population in Bangladesh, if only around 3.3% of the people have cast their vote, how can it be called a free, fair and inclusive election? That's a worrying sign. The second thing is that how many MPs do we have among the Hindu community is concerned? As far as the BNP is concerned, only 4 of them. 2 are Hindus, 2 are Buddhists. But apart from that, there are many of those pockets which are bordering with West Bengal. That is where the Jamaat has also made its intrusion, and they have done very well for themselves. So there has been a deep polarization, alienation of the Hindus. And therefore, if you think that with the elections being over and a new government being formed, the worry for the minorities is going to be over, that's not going to be the case.
Right, absolutely. And this claim now that Mamata Banerjee is making, Pallavi, of course, there is a huge amount of political backlash that she's receiving over the statements that she has gone on to make. Do you think this was a misjudgment on part of the West Bengal Chief Minister in a bid to go ahead and go about political point scoring, attacking the Election Commission of India? She went too far.
Well, I think she was playing to the galleries. It's a fact also that for many Bengalis, there's an emotional connect as far as Bangladesh is concerned. And if you look at the election result, and this was an earlier story which was put out by Manoj Gupta, if you look at the border area of Bangladesh, which was sharing the almost or was a porous border with West Bengal, those are the areas where Jamaat has done very well. That is where the minority of West Bengal, which is the Muslims, and of course the Jamaat radical organization, they have done very well for themselves. It would add to a further polarization. It is also akin to the appeasement politics as the BJP calls for Mamata Banerjee. And also the fact remains is that these are the same people on whose vote bank she really depends on. These are the reasons why there's a reason to be worried about. She was clearly playing that angle up, which is why she invited criticism from the BJP.
And what is the BJP, particularly the principal opposition in West Bengal, really saying about these figures? Something that has been brought about as far as these elections in West Bengal are concerned, in Bangladesh is concerned, that the border districts, like you rightly mentioned, that also are in close proximity with not just the state of West Bengal, but also Assam for that matter, both of which are going into elections. And the concerning aspect of the Jamaat's presence there, and how much of that is going to be pandering to the vote bank politics that BJP accuses Mamata Banerjee of playing now.
See, one of the main reasons why the SIR was implemented is because there is a real issue of illegal immigrants. You know, if you go to Murshidabad, Dinajpur, now Dinajpur also is there in Bangladesh. Dinajpur is also there in West Bengal. Those border areas, Dinajpur, Murshidabad, Malda, there are a large number of illegal immigrants who have crossed over from Bangladesh. That is the point which the BJP is making, that only the Indians should be voting for an Indian election. Why is it that she has legitimized these illegal immigrants coming in from Bangladesh? So when she talks about praising Bangladesh elections having been free, fair, and inclusive, that is being extremely unfair. That is also not echoing the reality which was there in Bangladesh. All those details and statistics have been brought to us from Manoj Gupta, which very clearly shows that the example that she's citing of Bangladesh is unfair. It was not free, fair, inclusive at all. Hindus were scared to vote. Very often when they went out to vote, they did it only because they want to show that they had cast their vote. And only around 3% of the 8% Hindus have actually go and cast their vote.
And also the violence that she has completely given a miss there, Pallavi, probably saying nothing about how the Hindu and minorities there had to suffer a lot on account of these violent episodes in Bangladesh.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been this for months. And
Okay.
this was happening in the run-up to elections in Bangladesh. So how can you call it free and fair?
Absolutely. Pallavi, thank you so much for all of those inputs there. Some problem with that link of Pallavi's. We'll try and reestablish that connection. But remember, these are claims that have been made by Mamata Banerjee. She's going about, in fact, bending backwards and trying to draw an equivalence between elections in Bangladesh to the electoral process here in India. And that's why that is a fair amount of flack that is coming the West Bengal Chief Minister's way. BJP calls it pandering to the vote bank. There is also a certain data that we are continuously highlighting about how the situation, the plight of minorities has been brought to fore as far as the global scenario is concerned, and how there is a global outrage when it is about how the minorities have been suffering in Bangladesh. The reportage suggests so. Pallavi was there in Bangladesh covering the elections. She has spoken to very many of the representatives from the community who in fact have suggested that there is a lot of fear in their hearts and minds of going and casting their ballot or even standing for the elections there. And that is why the data says that just 3% of the Hindus, the minorities in Bangladesh, even made it to the electoral rolls as far as candidature is concerned.